You're listening to the StarFall Actual Play Podcast. StarFall Actual Play Podcast is a combination of short stories, audio dramas, and actual role-playing that tell a much larger story. Hi, I'm the Game Master Kevin C. Mason. I'm the creator of StarFall, Game Master, and the editor. Oh my god, I got so much editing to do. It's crazy. I think I've got about 5 episodes that I've got to get done. It's pretty crazy. If you would like to help out this podcast, tell someone about it. Post it on Twitter, post it on Reddit, post it on your favorite RPG forum. Tell a friend. Yes, shout it if you can. That'd be great. Just not in a library. That would be bad. We're really pushing to get more ears and more voices into our podcast. Which reminds me, if you would like to provide some feedback on our podcast, go to starfallrpg.jackmonkeygames.com, go to the feedback link, and fill that out. So far, we've got about 5 people that have put in some comments, and we are listening. We are trying to make a better podcast. And better podcast, like all good things, requires feedback. So if you like the show, let us know. Who's your favorite character? Do you want more audio dramas? Do you want more short stories? Whatever, make your voice heard. Let us know. Now, if you would like to also support our podcast, think about becoming a Patreon backer. Patreon backers is what has been keeping the show running. And if we keep this up, we might be able to do some upgrade on my poor computer, which is 4 gigs of RAM. 4 gigs of RAM. I'm trying to do animation on 4 gigs of RAM. Yeah. Okay. With that said, with some of the feedback, someone had mentioned that sometimes it's hard to tell the players apart. So we've added a new bumper which introduces the characters at the beginning of a new mission, so to speak. So it's not going to be every episode you're going to hear this. It's going to be episodes where we're starting a new mission. So every night we're going to do, when we have a game night, we do recording, we chop them up to like 3 or 4 different sessions. We're going to start it off with these bumpers I'm about ready to play for you. Also, yes, I know you missed Turbo Weasel. And it will all be revealed later on why. Okay, so for this particular episode, I want you to imagine a cornfield. I want you to imagine what you would expect on a farm on a planet that it's kind of backwatered. So, you've got, like, all the materials will be modern, but there will actually be like a plow in the distance. There'll be handmade fences. There'll be like tractors, but instead of like the ones that we're used to, they're going to be like tractors that kind of float in the air. There'll be various birds and other things like that you would be familiar with, or maybe a few of them you may not. They may have like a different formation of wings, and the crows might be purple. Also, the planet that they're on is a little bit different because the atmosphere is a bit thin for what most people are used to. And that's what happens when terraforming doesn't work very well. So keep that in mind when you listen to this episode.
Hi, y'all. You're listening to the StarFall Real Play Podcast. Now, there best not be any cubs about because this is not for little furry ears. If they're in the room, well, that just makes you a bad parent. Mama might have to come get you. Bye now.
Hi, I'm Gerry. I play Lava, a human sensor operator from Helios. I'm a fantastic person to have on your team, as long as you're on my team. Hi, I'm Zane. I play Reza, the alcoholic octopus surgeon, totally not a method acting on the alcoholic part. Hi, I'm Sheriff. I play Gerry, the healer. Before all of this started, he unfortunate son to a psychopath father, but it doesn't matter. Remember, at least, if it's alive and pays up, I'll swear.
Okay, so here's what's happened. So there was a mission on the Nav Luna, which was a... Basically, it's where the 1% lives. They had to go and get these two objects.
They being?
They, being Terry and Arcady, Lava, Dave, Atrium, Mama Bear.
Was Stu and
Fraser and Pitt.
Brady got shot.
We're getting there. Yes.
There.
I don't think Fraser, McBeck, and
no, they weren't there.
They weren't there. They stayed on the ship.
Yeah.
They stayed on the ship, but
right.
they weren't there. So there were the church was after some pre-crash or pre-fall equipment. These
Pre-crash, crash not fall.
okay, pre-crash equipment, and these articles, these items are illegal to sell. So it's a black market auction. And the only thing they had to do was get them to touch together. So in the process, what happened is that they're going through, and Arcady gets a girlfriend, which, by the way, she's now a member of the crew.
No, if Mama got something to say about it.
And
It's okay. Arcady won't fight for her.
oh, and in the process, when the two objects were touched together, it started to form a robot out of the local like minerals and iron, and actually built this hulking, misshapen robot, who then immediately looks over at Terry and goes, "Why have you been ignoring me after everything I've done for you?" And then I started telling about the flashbacks, because this villain's been around since episode 3. Remember how when you guys went into the new city, or the spaceport city, and there was no communication that you guys had escaped?
Yes.
There's a reason. There is a reason for that. That communication was stopped in episode 6, when the fighter pilot had you guys dead to rights, and then it was called off by someone by the name of Gerry. Commander Gerry just called it off for no reason. And then when you guys were in the asteroid belt and you were being hailed by the pirate base, they happened to know exactly where you were, but for no reason. The person Terry was talking to was by the name of Gerry. The air traffic controller going to Helios Station was by the name of Gerry.
Why have I not picked this up?
Don't worry.
No one did.
And so this has been going on, and so this artificial intelligence has fallen in love with Terry and has been helping out. And she got really, really angry. Like, crazy angry.
Like, artificial intelligence post-crash, not crazy enough.
But now,
My kind of girl.
now he has a godlike intelligence that's obsessed with him.
Fun.
And, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
And
Fun enough.
so, basically, no, I can't say that yet.
Oh, no! I hate when he does that.
So basically, this intelligence has been following you guys as a whole, mostly after him.
So we are pretty much the crush of a 13-year-old artificial intelligence.
Not we. Terry.
Terry.
Well, except for that she's about 800 years
Yeah.
old.
Fair.
And
She
have
looks
had...
good though. Looks good.
Does she pay well?
Well, she did
Well-
keep our ass from dying on more than one occasion, so I'd say she
Yeah,
probably
so-
does pay
Well,
well.
here's the thing: is that she keeps on offering to make him like her, which that process would be removing his brain.
It could just be.
He doesn't use it all that much anyway, though.
It wouldn't
so.
take long. Like she says to make like me like her, but like I'm already good looking. That's the thing.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
That's it.
And then
Yeah, but she's 800 years old. How old are you?
Yeah, well,
that's just That's,
Ish.
so
yeah,
that'd be the equivalent of dating someone's sperm.
No, it's the equivalent of dating your grandpa's sperm.
that's all right.
So then, after that,
So then after that, David got a call that his clan on Warmed is in decline. So they actually went to Warmed, which was a bad idea.
they being
So it was Peg Leg Stew, Anaphrasia.
Reza and Gerry are keeping Terry company on K-Run
Boys.
for a long-earned respite, aka Terry's not doing so well with the whole Premtel thing, and y'all are on suicide watch.
Boys.
The idea that a godlike intelligence, can create a robot out of nothing, out of nowhere.
And wants him.
Mm.
On top of still not past Premtel's dying.
I'm all right.
There's a twist the top.
Drinking. So that's fine.
Yeah. So, in fact, let's do you three.
And actually, Lava would have stayed with them too, right? Because Lava's a K-Run native.
No, I'm Halosian.
Oh, that's your Halosian native. That's right. My bad.
She doesn't have her title yet.
All right, I'm rolling the dice.
Do you remember your title?
I'm rolling the dice. I'm good.
Do you need to
I'm
whisper
good.
in my shell
I've
lamp?
decoded everything. We're good. We're good.
K-Run landed and knighted.
See, 6 in
Oh,
the
from
powder.
K-Run.
There we go.
Yeah, that's in 5 years, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, we're time warping.
Remind me, give
Yeah.
me a brief rundown of what Charon's like again.
K-Run is it's a backwater planet. It's what happens when the terraformer fails during the crash. So it's mostly rock. There's decent soil on it. The air is rather thin, so as an Elome, you have to have a breather.
That's where we went to invade for the actual the auction.
Yeah.
No. This is this is a different place. So he needs a breather. You don't.
Ah, gotcha.
That's because Elomes use up double the life support.
Yeah, the heavy oxygen intake.
What could you say about big guy?
You know they say about a lot of oxygen.
So it's basically the K-Run is the planet where the governor said, "Screw this! I don't want to be part of the Confederation, and I don't want to be part of the Church." The Confederation has a rule in its constitution saying it cannot invade planets that have a primitive government. So fuck it, I'm a king. And so they became a monarchy just to keep the Confederation away.
Self-proclaimed king.
Pretty much.
Who was elected.
Of course.
Oh, he was elected and then said, "No, they elected him as king," and then he said, "Okay, we're now getting rid of all elections." The people went, "Hey, that's not so bad."
Given that it keeps us out of, churchy and confederation.
Yeah, keeps it independent.
Because honestly, voting is terrible. You know what I vote for.
Oh yeah. In fact, he's gotten upset because the king's like, "No, you don't get to vote anymore. I say you accept it." And then they've been trying to hire people that understand politics to teach their people, because the people that live there are pretty much bogans. Is the best way to describe it.
On the doll.
No.
Farmers.
That's the doll, pretty much.
It's one of the food belt planets.
They
of
pretty
the-
much work for what they need.
They do produce a lot of food.
Chows.
Mostly chows. They do produce a lot of corn.
Chows are a cross between a chicken and a corn.
Say again?
Chow. Cross between a chicken and
Oh, yum.
Exactly, especially since
I
it's
wanna call
very
them
docile.
chowkins.
You can hunt a chow with a hammer.
Can we call them chowkins?
Chowkins. Okay, we're gonna do a quick role play. So you guys,
Tell if you don't.
because communication travels slower than ships, you are completely unaware of the death of Arcade.
Okay.
You're still dealing with the death of Premtel. You guys are basically sitting on a farm on K-Run.
Hang on, am I with them at this stage? Yes.
Yeah, because you
Yes,
didn't go to.
I didn't go to Warmedian.
You didn't go to Warmed.
All right.
So you're sitting at you're on. So basically, you're sitting on a. It's basically a rental farm where you kind of sit there and you get the farm experience kind of thing.
Farm stay.
Farm stay, yeah.
K-Run farm stay.
K-Run farm stay. You're pretty much like in the middle of a cornfield, and Terry, you get this message that some of the decoding
Yes.
from Premtel's log
Yes.
version 2 is released. Now we haven't had a chance to actually record that yet, so I'm not going to play it for you because it doesn't exist yet. But pretty much, it's Premtel talking about how they were in charge of trying to manipulate the group into bringing Arcady, who had the plan stuck in her head, back into the church. And talking about that the problem that Premtel was having was the fact that you were decent people.
That is weird.
And
Confusing.
so, as a Glippin, basically talking about how they're based on loyalty. In fact, betraying anyone is not in their DNA at all. So this was very difficult for Premtel. So it's basically about a 5-minute recording of Premtel going on that.
How quickly we became outcast as like a very unique family. Very quickly.
Okay, so all 4 of you just heard that.
The boys.
Wait,
No. Lava's a boy. She's part of the boys. So we've got this group happening
Do
now.
we really have to be going with all these gendered terms?
Oh, well, it's not a gender thing. It's just that it's the boys. Like we're a tight unit.
And the crew.
I'm sure I have a sharp knife where I can kind
we're
of,
fifth
you
crew.
know,
We're
make,
fifth
make
crew.
you not the boys.
We're fifth crew. And
the not boys.
But not boys.
oh, what about? What would you call the group? 4 of us, we're just hanging, depressed. What are we? Fifth crew.
We are the fifth crew.
Boys. I'm sorry.
Yes, boys acting like children.
Yes! Lava. Love it. Because we are. He's a drunk.
Yeah. And my character is too.
Oh, roll versus roll cards. Kev, we didn't
Oh
do
yes,
that.
please, everyone pull out 3 roll versus roll cards.
Okay, you want some more paths?
What do you want to call the group?
At this point, I want to give a shout out to the Steamrollers Adventure podcast because you guys are freaking awesome!
Yay!
So if you guys are, if you appreciate alternate history,
You folks.
if you folks appreciate
Peeps. Yeah.
if you peeps,
Yeah.
humans,
Sentient
bitches,
life forms.
sentient life forms, electric weasels, electric monkeys is what they called us last time. Electric monkeys. If you appreciate, steampunk, if you appreciate really great storytelling, I recommend that you check out the Steamrollers Adventure podcast because they are made of awesome, and they seem to like us too. Okay.
How many?
So,
should we pick again?
roll versus roll cards.
They've gone through them.
Do you
Do
do you understand how this works?
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay to explain it again because
So roll versus roll cards is a deck of suggested role-playing options, and you pick. You can deal 3 to yourself, and then you pick the one that you think you might be able to work into this evening's campaign. And if you do it
You don't have to do all
successfully, what?
You don't have to do all 3.
No, just pick the
Oh,
one.
Okay.
And if you do it successfully, then the god that is the game master may give you happy, joy things for your success.
Usually points or equipment.
usually points.
Usually, though.
The new version of Roll vs. Roll is actually going to have a separate deck that has rewards, like you don't die this round.
I need that. Terry needs that.
That's a good reward.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The GM has tried to kill me multiple times, but my dice are too good.
If I wanted you dead, you would be.
Oh,
Okay, so
Run at me, GM. Run at me. Sangria is good.
okay, so you guys have just heard that message. Tell me about what's going on. What's going through your head?
I think Reza's probably more worried for Terry than anything else.
Terry's been drinking.
I mean,
no,
isn't
but
that
like,
all-
it's
that's
like-
the norm when
No,
they're together.
It's
so
yeah, but it's like it's bad now.
it's
Reza,
it's a bad.
Rezi.
Yeah.
Can I call you Rezi?
Call me whatever you want,
Rezos, whatever. Like, hey, wait, the boys yet? Like,
Not Premtel. See, on my mind. I love I hear you say that.
I feel like she's one of the boys, but no, we won't say anything. It's alright. But she's cool. Look, man, I don't know, man. Like, this is all. I had a totally different view on her. Like,
Yeah.
I'm worried. Like, because it's taken us a while to decrypt this. It really is.
Mm.
And man, I don't know. I'm honestly worried. And I have a psycho after me as well. Like, I got too many things to deal with. Like, all I want to do is scrub things. All I want to do. I had a good business until I ran into all you guys. Don't get me wrong, you're good guys, lady. But it's too much going on, man. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
I don't know what.
We should just get out of here. I just want to go away.
Go where? What do you? Why are you suddenly
Let's just-
thinking of
let's just-
going? Because we've been
Let's just StarFall into nothingness. Let's go. Let's do it.
just wherever
Whatever.
we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate to bust your little bubble there, Terry, but we really, unfortunately, don't have the resources to StarFall into nothingness, because then we won't have a ship.
You're resourceful, Lava, yeah?
I am resourceful.
Come on, let's just do it. Let's just go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, we could go, but it sounds like you want to go and stop. And stopping's really not all that fun when you can't start again.
If I have enough of this Warmedian Whiskey, I reckon we can start again. Let's just get out of here.
It's been a long day. I think we should just maybe have a bit more and then kick the hay or
I
something.
know.
I know it's weird for Reza to say that because he's usually not one to go home early. But like I think we've been going a bit too hard recently, and I'm worried for you, Terry.
I'm gonna go to my cabin. I need some time. I need some Terry time.
I think Gerry has an idea of how to get some you time and how all of us can get some of us time.
You always do. You got good ideas. I like it. Hit me.
I think Terry.
I can hear you.
We
If
need.
that'll help, I'll hit you.
We
I
need
appreciate
a
it,
cleanse.
Lava.
We need to cleanse Terry.
A hot
We've
cleansing.
never had to cleanse Terry though before. Terry's never had this problem. You know this.
That
So
may-
Terry, sometimes when new things happen, we need to try new things.
How? What do you mean by cleanse? What are we gonna do?
I say, to cleanse, to start fresh, we delete the logs. Because they're not helping you, Terry. They're not helping any of us.
Just delete him. Get rid of him.
Delete them. What? How
Have they
are
been
helping?
decoded? Shouldn't we wait for them to be decoded so we figured out what and why first?
What would you do?
Because
What would you
I-
do with the information?
Honestly, what I'm struggling with, right, is why Premtel did it at all. Like, yeah, she just Z. I'm sorry, why Z did it at all? Because like, yeah, we may not like see eye to eye all the time.
Do we even know
you
Z?
know?
We didn't even know Z. Like,
Yeah,
it was so hectic.
That's the thing. Like that's what's going on in my head, right? Like, I saved you guys, but we were the fifth crew, and
We still are the best.
we still are the fifth crew, yes. But she was part of the fifth crew as well, and I thought that meant something. But obviously, there's something that's meant more to Z that caused it to betray us, and I honestly want to know why. And part of me also wants vengeance for that because someone scrubbed us over, and I want to scrub them back.
Oh, if we can scrub
But-
someone, man.
Count me in.
That's the church that we need to scrub.
Yeah.
And it's possible for somebody to hold multiple loyalties at one point in time.
Yes.
Premtel, unfortunately, was in a position where they did have multiple loyalties, both to the 5th crew as far as they were able, and to their pod, and to and to Lipcorp. And that is not something, that loyalty is not something that we can reason away or that we can try and supersede with, sentient logic. That is a genetic. It's a genetic loyalty. They didn't have any choice about how.
Why didn't they have a choice? What was?
Because it's genetic.
No, but as in why was? Yeah.
Okay, so to answer this, and you would know this as a doctor,
Sure.
it is genetically impossible for a Glippin to betray or go against the orders of the Queen.
Okay, but I want to know what the.
So you might
orders were.
forget. So the very first log, and I don't think you were here.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first Premtel's log explained
Yeah.
that the church invaded Premtel's pod
Oh, okay.
and held Premtel's pod captive.
Okay.
And they kidnapped Premtel's queen.
Oh,
And then
no.
they sent the youth,
That's
which
a good
Premtel
comment.
was. They sent the youth out to places where they knew there would be insurgents against the church's activities.
Okay.
And said, if you don't do these things and don't check in, we will kill your queen.
Oh shit. Okay. See. Okay. That's the why I wanted to know.
Yeah. So I'm sorry because Zane wasn't here for that
Yeah.
reading. So the whole Premtel's log thing is the backstory of the betrayal, and it's because Premtel and I think 4 other youth were sent in various places, and then Premtel's job was to infiltrate the resistance.
Yeah.
And then when Premtel ended up in the cell with Arcady, Premtel got a message saying that Arcady had information in her head that the church needed, and no matter what, Arcady had to be brought back to the church. And the really nasty, nasty street preacher, Jeremiah.
Oh, man.
Jeremiah was the one who personally infiltrated Premtel's pod and personally kidnapped the queen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, that answers my question.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot that you weren't here when we did that reading.
I've been.
Yeah. So what happened then was after Premtel died, there was an encrypted message for Terry saying if anything happens to me, go here. And then Terry's been decrypting Premtel's log.
Yeah.
And the first Premtel's log was the explanation of the moment when the church showed up to their pod.
You need to listen to the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I do really need to catch
Yeah.
up.
So and then apparently now I've got more places to go with Premtel's log because the game master just told me where I'm supposed to go with the next set of logs.
Yes, right, there's that.
Yeah.
There was also some information that you dropped that has me wondering.
Is it future information then?
Well,
But no, but so
no,
what,
no,
no,
it's-
was that said though in the recording or is that just her talking?
I don't know. That's the thing.
You
What,
mentioned
did
You
something
talked
about four other
four
youths.
youth, 4 Glippin youth.
Yeah. There was a total of 5 of us, weren't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that mentioned in the logs then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's a thing that we didn't quite pick up on, which I've just
Okay.
picked up on now, which makes me suspicious.
Look, Jerry's idea still stands.
How much of the log have we decrypted?
You've only decrypted that first thing that explains.
There's like
about
6
the-
of them.
GM,
Two portions.
can we see how many parts can be decrypted?
There's 6 individual
Oh,
pieces.
God, that's...
Jerry, while I like the idea of having a clean slate, I think that the logs have information that we need to know.
Which is more important to you, information or Terry?
Okay. I have a question. Do these logs require anything from Terry in order to be decrypted, or is it just a decryption process that is running?
Decryption process.
Okay.
I'm out.
So, Terry doesn't necessarily need to know about what's in the logs. I am happy to take responsibility for decrypting, for the continued decryption and the analysis of what's in them, because I think it's better to be forewarned than forewarned and forearmed when it comes to the church, and
Gerry
when it
is
comes to
forearmed.
threats to the 5th crew, and when it comes to threats to our lives from externally. I'm not discounting Terry's mental health at this point in time, which is why I'm offering to take that responsibility off his shoulders.
Lava, you know what?
What?
Take it over. I'm out. Cheers. I'm out. You can
Alright.
take in charge
Out
of it.
of what?
I'm done. I'm out.
Terry, out of what?
I'm out of everything, man. I'm just gonna go.
But you can't. No, once fifth crew, always fifth crew, man.
Just give me some time.
Terry,
So
you
in
know,
Not really.
you know I have your back, and whatever you decide, I'm gonna go with you, man.
Come drink with me. Come have a drink with
Okay,
me.
so I'll ask you this question now, Terry, and you can have a think about it now while you're drunk and later on if you sober up.
That's the if.
That's why I said if.
Alright.
If
Thank you.
it
Thank
is
you.
a big if, then that's okay. If you choose to live your life in a bottle.
I do need to pilot this thing. So yes, I will be sober at some point.
Well, you said that you were out, and if you're out, that means you can't pilot, and it means that you're not captain. So
No,
who
no,
would you
no.
like to nominate as your successor?
Look, no one can be my successor. I don't know if you've heard this, but I'm amazing.
I know.
I'm
And
gonna
modest
finish
as
this
well.
bottle of Warmedian because you've got good recommendations and it's helping.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to reimburse me for something.
Look, I think we can figure out a way to reimburse each other. No,
Yeah.
sorry, mate. Let me rephrase that. To reimburse you because this is good stuff.
Yes, it took a lot of effort to get this good stuff.
Do you want to share it with me in my cabin and we can talk about this?
What about the handing over of the captaincy?
We don't need to worry about that right now. I'm sure I'll be sober enough to.
All right, fine. You think about that, because if you're opting out of the fifth crew, it might be something you need to think about.
Oh no! I'm opting out of this decoding right now because I cannot handle it.
Well, fine. Why are you getting all dramatic about all of this thing? Talking
Have you
about
met
leaving
him?
the crew.
He's
How could you do
dramatic.
this to us?
Because he's drunk.
Oh, goodness me. You
What?
scrubbing, self-centered pain in the ass.
I'll accept that.
You've been listening to the StarFall Actual Play Podcast, written and directed by Kevin C. Mason. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you can find a podcast. Become a Patreon backer by going to patreon.com/StarFallPodcast. Get a copy of Roll vs. Roll at GamesCrafter or Drive-Thru RPG.